My name is BenFlyingRetro, and I'm embarking on a quest to purchase every classic GI Joe comic from the original 80s and 90s Marvel run.
Warning.
Hunting down individual issues from every corner of the globe in whatever order the universe decides to give me. Join me and my pal Steve every week as we discuss my latest find. Welcome to Chasing Joe. Chasing Joe.
Welcome, weary travelers. Please step inside this audio sphere of recollection, where your reality will become dreamlike, and some of your dreams will become reality. It's episode 63 of Chasing Joe, and it is -1 here in wintry Bournemouth. This is a Stranger Things candle. It was meant to be a light, and then I accidentally blew it out just before I did the bit. But I am wearing my wife's snoody, because it is Baltic. I'm BenFlyingRetro. I'm half of this voyage through ARA. You are S-Jub7, Jubba Lang, Steve. How are you, good buddy?
That's probably not a pop reference anymore. I mean, back when my brother and sister were in school, they used to get called Jabba the Hutt all the time. Me,
that's good, no Jabba the Wonga.
Who the hell is Jabba the Hutt? What are those funny daddy movies?
I know.
Anyway,
talk about an IP that is in the toilet. Right. Let's do a show. I have got a mailer here, and this show is starting to cost me a pretty penny, so I had to lean in to my main benefactor, Tom Donaldson, to just keep that tap open, just keep them trickling down all the way down to Bournemouth. He sent me a book because he knows I need them, and I was caught short for this show. What have we got? I'm going to give you
what does
just...
that mean, Ben? I'm going to give you Chasing Joe.
Well, caught short as in I got to keep spending, but look, what are we getting here? Wow, we're going late in the run with issue 143, dropping September 21st, 1993. So hang on, it's issue 104.
GI Joe book.
Oh, geez. Wait, it's issue 143. It's episode 63, and it came out 1993. 3 is the magic number. Della Soul. Let me grab you. Let me submerge you in my pop culture isolation chamber. We're not going to get in the DeLorean. Paddle around like 11 from Stranger Things. Movies. It was The Fugitive. I mean, Harrison Ford, he could have been making Indiana Jones 4, but he wanted to make serious movies like The Fugitive. So this is what we lost him to. He looked good, but I'm angry about that man's career in the 90s now. I look at it differently. I hate all of these guys being like, I don't want to do the great thing because I want to do other roles. Just, sacrifice yourself and make another Indiana Jones trilogy when you look correct. What say you, S-Jumps?
Who is opposed to recasting?
No. Back, not in the 90s, though. I don't think you want to recast him when he's perfectly good and ready. Like, wouldn't you trade The Fugitive, Air Force One, the freaking... What else did he do in the 90s? Just sort of middling action films? I don't know what he was doing. Oh, Patriot Games, the sequel to that. It's like, come on, for every one of those, we could have had another amazing adventure with Spielberg and Lucas. But...
Okay, well... We just derided Star Wars at the top of this episode. Now, Star Wars' big problem is they didn't cap it early enough. They just kept the tap open. You are advocating now the opposite, that you would have gladly had them milk the indie train until that train was busted dead on the track.
If we would have known what was coming, I think you could have made really good films in a pre-CG era. So I just like annoyed for what we could have got. I feel the same about Ghostbusters. I feel like you could have had another 2 of those easily, and we only got 2. And it's just so funny how, why are they even talking about it in 2025, Indiana Jones and stuff? It's like the fact that they were making them so late, I think it makes them look a little bit kind of silly. It's like you didn't want this franchise when it was hot, but you want it when you want to put a squash court in your garden in your Hollywood, mansion. Hot take?
The house,
I don't know.
House, my friend. They are just milking every IP. Everything that's dormant.
Well, look,
in the hope
the great
that they can get another MCU.
Jeez. Look, the great thing about the cinema back then was films were in theatres for months and months and months if they were popular. So in September, you could still see Jurassic Park. I've got memories of this being one of the first kind of mega blockbusters that like infiltrated my sort of pop culture landscape back then. I remember being excited from all phases of the film. I remember being in a video rental store and seeing the teaser trailer on one of those CRT TVs that was like hanging down from the ceiling. I just remember so vividly just stood there looking up at the amber, and they didn't show any dinos or anything. It was just the tease, and I was obsessed with dinosaurs. And that film, like, I saw that a lot at the cinema for sure. Did that hit you in the sweet spot?
I was perhaps a little young. It was a little scary to 8-year-old Steve.
Wow.
I distinctly remember, the cinema that I went to see it at is just a couple of 100 meters up the road from where I'm currently sat. It is defunct. It's no longer operating. It was called the Luxorama. And the Luxorama,
good name.
It was one of those classic old cinemas with like the great, like,
beautiful
curtaining everywhere.
Yes,
massive screen, big raked seating. You kind of enter it in various points, like middle of the seating on the sides. Anyway, I actually shot a student film there once upon a time. But the Luxorama, they had Jurassic Park. I went there with my best friend of the day, and we had these snacks like Jurassic Park branded chips.
Oh,
the merch was out of control. But I just do remember when the Velociraptors were occupying the screen, I was hiding behind that packet.
That kitchen scene is still just an incredible kind of demonstration of like suspense and how it's shot. The CG is amazing. The puppetry is amazing. It is amazing how no J Park film since has ever captured a scene like that. And if anything, the CG in the latest one, I don't know, it just doesn't look up to snuff. Budget cuts? I don't know. It's funny because
of Jurassic Park 1993 is ironically
I think we've got
CG. The stuff that they leaned into was revolutionary, but so much of it was practical. So much of it was puppeteering. So much of it was stand-in object or a dino leg.
I think back then, CG in films was like, okay, it's in this film, and then it's in that film, and then it's going to be in that film, and there was a progression to CG because there wasn't much of it, and it was just going up and up and up. And now it's actually middling. There's good CG, there's bad CG, there's average CG, depending on how much money you have. But let's keep this show moving. Music, Nirvana, In Utero, their best album, and sadly, their last album. Hollywood Comics, Transformers Generation 2, Issue 1, dropping same week as this bad boy. So I'm guessing get Transformers into GI Joe, get people excited about them because they haven't done much for a while. and go and buy issue 1. Interestingly enough, I didn't have time to send it to you, but on the cover of that issue, it says, "This isn't your father's Optimus," or something like that, which is an interesting tagline. Arcade golden era for arcade. Arcade golden era. NBA Jam. I wasn't that into it, but my friends were obsessed with it, and it was the biggest selling arcade game in the US that year. Virtual Fighter, that hit me in the sweet spot. I was a Virtual Fighter kid, not a Tekken kid. Mortal Kombat 2 was out, and boy, it was popular. But again, I was a Street Fighter 2 kid, not a Mortal Kombat kid. What were you?
Probably neither, to be honest. Fighting games, because I didn't have the biggest competitive streak, fighting games had a limited appeal for me. Outside of testing out each character and their moves, like, I quickly fell by the wayside. Like, I drifted. I did a bit of Street Fighter, then I did a bit of Mortal Kombat. Then there was something that we got on our computers called Brutal. Then, all the clones, all the kind of the influences or influenced titles that came in the wake of Street Fighter. With things that I adopted and then set aside and adopted and set aside until I found my sweet spot, which was mainly with like action gaming.
I see.
Metal Gear Solid world, siphon filters and spiraling out of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you need for, arcade is social. The games need to be short. Hence why, like fighters were just so popular. Fighters and racing games effectively filled the arcades.
You'd quickly get schooled by people that had actual, like, serious abilities, and that would scare me off. I'd rather do a beat 'em up, like a Turtles or X-Men, game where it's co-op and you're just kind of battling through waves of guys together. It's a very social thing.
Yeah,
whereas
definitely
Street Fighter felt a lot more adversarial.
They would definitely steal your quarters. Toys. Let's get to Toys R Us. And I never got my hands on one of these. The Talk Boy, as featured in Home Alone 2. I don't even know if that came to the UK, and that's why it didn't get on my radar, because I would have asked for one of those, but I never received. Are you familiar with the Talk Boy? Little recorder.
Negative.
Really?
Talk Boy.
Do you know Home Alone 2?
I saw it in cinemas when I was that age. No, I haven't seen it since.
Oh, it's like a dictaphone thing, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now you're speaking my language. So it's a dictaphone that's marketed to kids. Got it.
Yeah, that's it. The back pages of Toys R Us catalogue. As I was waning with toys, it was the invasion of Sega and Nintendo. You'd get one page, and that would be your Sega Genesis, Mega Drive, everything that's out. And then you'd get your Nintendo SNES page with all of the games that were out. And in 1993, those were the pages that I was starting to go to. I was being drawn away from the Lego and the action figs, and I was just getting square eyes, S-Jubs.
As our grandmothers would say. Yeah.
It was the pull, and I'm sure that all of that probably, the home gaming and stuff probably had a big impact in comics, I'd imagine, as well. But let's crack on with episode 63. This is my 22nd donation. We're going to do a smell test because I want to smell something from 1993. Let's find the spine. Oh, jeez. Look, it was the 90s after all, and this smells firmly like cigarettes and booze. Someone had a whale of a time reading this.
Oh, what a time.
What do you think? Just like smoking and just maybe a little bit of whiskey on the page. Oh, there it goes. Probably not whiskey, probably some kind of cheap beer.
It was just the 90s. It was a dangerous time. None of this stuff was sequestered into like a gas chamber for all the smokers to smoke in. It was just happening in public. You can't wade through that era without catching a whiff of bourbon.
Well, happening in public is exactly what is happening on the front cover. So we've got Megatron, Skydive peeking around the back. But look, you've got the floppy in hand. I really enjoy the perspective of the art on this cover. That is one hell of a foot.
G2 Megatron, baby. He a big boy.
Yeah, he is. And I mean, I really enjoy how that foot has been drawn. But in a minute, when we open this sucker up, I prefer the extreme perspective that we get on the opening page. There really isn't much to say about the cover. It's business as usual for this time in ARA. So we've got GI Joe in teeny tiny font size, starring Snake Eyes, big and bold, but also featuring Transformers Generation 2. It's interesting. There's a lot going on there. They're selling, man. They are like, come on, we got to sell some stuff. We got 3 things on the front. But anyway, as I said, I really kind of prefer this to the cover. Maybe this should have been the cover.
Yeah, well, look, you don't get quite as many bots busying up the frame.
True.
Just got Megatron, an extreme worm's eye view. We're actually like so low that Scarlet is sort of towering up over us. Dr. Biggles Jones in Megatron's one hand, and this wicked sort of tube with like an apple corer, which ironically he will use to core, or he intends to use to core Dr. Biggles Jones and just keep her, I don't know, her brain. Ghastly stuff.
Yeah. As a child, I always was confused about things like when King Kong was grasping someone, or in this case, you know, this gargantuan robot grasping this tiny human. I just never really believed that they would have the not the dexterity, but the fine motor skills not to just accidentally you go a little bit too hard and you bust her, you know, her head explodes.
Yeah, human beings are way too fragile. But, you know, put a butterfly in the palm of your hand.
That's true.
You've got enough give.
That's true. But that is beautifully drawn.
The sentient machine, he actually has feeling. You know, the metal. Megatron and all Transformers are living metal creatures. So I guess they have a feedback loop to their brain circuits, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to do one of your juicy, lovely synopsises?
Well, this forms the final part of the GI Joe Transformers 90s miniseries. It's all hell breaking loose. Cobra Commander has an alliance with Megatron, Cybertronian technology in exchange for Dr. Biggles Jones and her railgun technology. Of course, Megatron's reneging on the deal.
Do you know what, S-Jubs? Just to set the scene, I'm actually going to read 3 letters from Postbox The Pit, just to let everyone know what was, how the readership was feeling about the Transformers being in the last few issues. So, this is from Rich. I have every issue of G.I. Joe, and I'm ashamed and embarrassed to buy the next issue. Transformers? What are you thinking? This comic used to be one of the most realistic comics around. Oh well. However, how about a team up with the Punisher and Snake Eyes? Come on, Larry, what do you think? Please reply, because I'm sure a lot of readers feel the same. The reply was, as you can see, opinions range, hot and cold, with our Transformers guest appearance. But whether you love our stories or hate them, you have to write us so that we know how you feel. Right, okay. And then straight again, they get hit again from Nathan. Dear Joes, I want to start off by saying that I really like your comic book, but I want to ask you why you brought Transformers into the picture. G.I. Joe is supposed to be realistic. I can see ninjas doing seemingly superhuman things like climbing up a tall skyscraper, but it's getting a little far-fetched. However, I still really like your comic. Reply, well, Nathan, we brought in the Transformers to help prepare our readers for the awesome new Transformers series. We do try to make our comics as realistic as possible and emphasize the relationship between the Joes. In upcoming issues, we'll be getting more down-to-earth and Cobra-kicking basics. One more. This is from T. Jonathan. Dear Keepers of the Pit, I think the high-tech new armor and equipment is just great. There will be those who scream unrealistic, but pay no heed to their mindless banter. Reality is forever changing, and it's time the Joes stopped being soldiers and became warriors. Trust me, this is a good thing, and I hope my beloved Transformers will be a part of it. Response, and the pendulum swings again. So this is cool because there was turmoil. There was probably more people hating this than liking it, but I think it's interesting to read those up front because it was a very sort of treacherous landscape at the moment for A-Ra. They were obviously trying new things, and some people were not happy. I mean, it's wild to hear the word, realism and realistic keep coming up. Because did they think they were reading an army book?
And not one marketing plastic figurines? Gosh, I don't know. Look, this is the case of a readership aging through the course of this comic title's run.
Yeah.
And of course, if they're young teens or even early adults, yeah, they'll be like, why this cartoony bullshit? But they need only kind of read back to the early stages of G.I. Joe and then be like, oh, okay, maybe there was always a whimsical side to it. We just were much younger.
Yeah. I think it definitely reads more like a Transformers book than an A-Ra book. And not in a great way, because it makes me feel that the Joes and the Cobras are pretty kind of just like pedestrian, really, a bit useless. They once felt unique, and then as soon as you put these Transformers in, it kind of makes them very average, and they don't feel important, and they don't really feel like they can alter the course of the story.
So I wanted to raise something about the roster of Transformers we have here, right? So
yeah,
Megatron's obviously the heaviest hitter around, and he is probably the heaviest hitter in all Transformerdom, even in green and purple. But then you've got, for the Autobots, Steeljaw, Chase, who is, I think, a Throttlebot, barely a Transformer, Override, a bike that is like I think a Trigger Con, I don't know. Basically, weapons spring forward with a mechanism. We might talk about the toy later. Hotshot, who's the central part of the Protectobots gestalt. Skydive, who's the F-16 aerial bot, just a limb. And then Brawn. Like, what?
Yeah, is this because they want to lead Generation 2 with new faces, new toys?
These, I would accept that point, except these are all, with the exception of Brawn and Steeljaw, late, and Hotshot, actually. So these are not G2 toys.
Yeah, it's strange. It's definitely strange. Well,
very weird.
I mean, Steeljaw, Chase, Brawn, and Override all destroyed in this issue. Now, I guess that's just something you can't do with Joes, I mean, you can just kill these things so easily. You can have them being ripped to pieces. You can have them being blown up. That is one thing that you can do in Transformers. You can visually kill them off.
I guess they're victims of Larry's his cleaning of house, his cleaning of old product. He did it with Battle Force 2000. He's now doing it with like old G1 toys. But it's just strange to me that like you don't have any heavy hitters for Megatron to come up against. It's really just teaching the parable about, these machines are able to make the ultimate sacrifice too. They have feelings. They have honor.
Well, because most of them die, is that not the reason? Because you don't want to put Jazz in there or Ultra Magnus, because in this issue we want to see some Autobots die.
It's playing it safe.
Yeah, fodder.
No, you've absolutely satisfactorily answered my question. But hey, it's an interesting smorgasbord of guys from different like sub teams of G1 Transformerdom.
How does the scripting flow for you in this issue? I actually don't have a problem with this little sequence. I think it's quite funny. So the scripting for the entire fight between Scarlet and Cobra Commander. That whole scripting, all of it. So Cobra Commander is going Shakespeare crazy, but then Scarlet is retorting with kind of 90s mall lines like, here's another one for you, bubblegum brain. You gotta talk faster than that, chump. It just doesn't really feel like Scarlet. I do love that panel, though, where her kind of 90s fist is just mashing his nose. Youch. Rag face. I mean, it's just zingers after zinger. It's a bit of a clown college scrap, actually.
You're definitely seeing Scarlet scripted at her most juvenile.
Yeah,
it is
very juvenile.
Like, Cobra Commander's like, Alley Vipers, shoot! He's about to say shoot her, but he doesn't get that far. And he's like, what were you going to say, Cobra Commander? Shoo? You trying to get him to go away?
It kind of, for me, that's all fine. But then when they try and have a serious panel, when Snake Eyes comes into shot, I just don't really buy her emotion. Was there, nice Alley Vipers in this issue, though.
But it's the only time you're going to see this version of Alley Viper in some serious action.
A lot of action.
The Bumblebee Alley Viper. Any thoughts on that toy, sir?
Growing on me, because we're always going to have V1, so that's fine. There's an interesting sort of helmet detail on the page. Is that replicated in the figure? I don't.
So the helmet has. Well, I don't have it on this sample, but it does have fangs.
Yeah, that's cool.
Different visor to the classic Alley Viper, and it is cool because it's more of a knight's mask in that it's got cutouts for the eyes.
Okay,
and this kind of fang detail. But they are typically depicted
accessories.
With the masked up.
Accessories?
Weapons tree, I think. Gosh. Mm-hmm. I'm scratching the top of my... I think he probably has a shield, but it's not the classic shield.
Is it better or worse?
But you can always outfit him with classic Alley Viper gun and backpack. And
that's
that would
true.
Probably go a long way to making this version of Alley Viper a bit more palatable.
Yeah, I think they'd probably look pretty good in a squad when you've got loads of them in that yellow and black. But
I mean, they're no more ostentatious than Fanta Orange Alley Viper.
No, maybe they're a little bit less messy.
With the black.
V1,
sure.
V1 is one of, well, maybe my top 5, maybe top 10. I adore that fig. So, I'm never going to sort of think that V2 can hold a candle to V1. What else have I got here on my notes? I've got here Megatron, this is the Megatron issue. Is he ever so slightly OP, or is that what you want the leader of the Decepticons to be? I mean, he's got a neutron implosion, which just decimates Brawn. Megatron seems to be okay. We get a lovely panel of the Autobots seeing that implosion from afar. That's beautifully drawn art right there, and really nice use of shading as well. That's cool.
Look how tiny that what's it called? Detonator vehicle is.
It's a toy
next to the aerial bot. I mean, I think that's a little bit too small. It's quite a considerable vehicle.
Oh yeah, look at it next to the railings and stuff. I mean, look, when you scale is a nightmare for Transformers from an artist point of view. You're really relying on sort of look and feel. Like, you will tie yourself in knots if you literally try and draw everything, as it should be. There's scale jumping all over the place. I mean, there's some shots of Megatron where he is just absolutely colossal. So it's just Transformers, isn't it? They are size morphing nutters.
Yeah. Okay. Thoughts on G2 Megatron? Let's give this guy his episode, shall we? As he rips Override mercilessly limb from limb. That is a total Megatron move, man. They used that in the Michael Bay movie. He grabbed Jazz and cha.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he certainly makes for a better toy in terms of when he's in his robot form, because there's just something about that G1, like the original G1 toy. He just doesn't look right. Like, he doesn't look like he does in the cartoon in robot form. Wow, you're bringing him out. Yeah,
baby.
He just doesn't look. He just doesn't look right in toy mode.
No, you're right.
I got him for Christmas. Oh, I had some toys. I bought some toys. I'll get them out. I brought a
There he is.
Yeah.
Weird.
It's just
so
strange.
Megatron is a far easier toy to get your head around. He's a tank.
Yeah.
He looks like
definitely.
He's got a big old
gun. He's got nice paint apps on him. Really nice colorway. It just works better all around. And look, he's been a tank now for since then, hasn't he? Really.
I can accept him as this green tank, and I can accept him as a Nazi pistol, but I don't know if I can go any further. Like, he's been sports cars, and he's been jets, and space cars,
I've got a lovely what's it called? Is it called Frankentron or something like that? It's a Frankenstein Megatron crossover, and he's still a tank. I like him as a tank.
Makes sense of that big old gun, He can mount something to his arm.
Fusion. Fusion cannon.
He's definitely leveled up, but he always had sort of command of a black hole. Wasn't that how his fusion cannon was powered? He had this mini black hole power.
Yeah, behind him. That is crazy. I was in the toy shop, and Scout got a Transformer. I can't remember what he got or who he got. Anyway, I picked up a X-Men 97 Marvel Legends Jubilee. I was just totally sucked in by the pack, the art, the blister pack. Oh my god, it was a shame to open the thing, but beautiful figure, and the quality in those Marvel Legends has really improved. They are amazing. It's like a really nice kind of malleable, like, softness to the plastic. And back in the day when I was collecting Black Series, they weren't that great, to be honest with you. But they're premium now. Expensive buggers, though.
Yeah. And X-Men 97 is not the sort of set that you can sleep on, because that stuff will sell out.
Yeah, she's so cool. She comes with a milkshake. She comes with a milkshake from the mall.
And lots of, like, firework effects.
Yeah, like...
I do dislike the fact that they've opted to go with her less fun look. She's in the black bodysuit with the yellow trench coat instead of being in the pink turtleneck with the denim shorts.
Yeah, I hear that. Right, back to my notes. I've got here. So reading out of order, I always find these Transformers issues to be a welcome kind of change of pace. But back in the day, reading month to month, you are probably wondering / hoping, how long the Transformers are going to hang around in the GI Joe verse. But it's brief. So, they came, they went, they publicized their own new comic book, and then they left GI Joe, and we went back to Joe versus Cobra stories, just like Larry promised in the letters page. But I think people were panicking. I am almost remiss that we didn't have Andrew Wildman continue the run through this point. It would have eased the transition. He did some absolutely lovely art of Megatron in the sort of introductory issue. Mm-hmm. Then we get to this point where, like, there are 3 pencilers on this book. Yeah.
It feels like there was a lot of indecision and a lot of chopping and changing and switching tacks.
This is the kind of issue you can imagine there were notes flying all over the place, because they were probably orchestrating the launch of this new Transformers run and the look, how they wanted them to look. Yeah, no one was talking about Joes and Cobras when they were writing this.
Yeah, and I think this was maybe the death knell for the line, because when you jump back into the main run, I think it also takes a few like filler issues before we get back to any like A or B plots that are callbacks to what was happening in GI Joe and Cobra's sort of soap opera just prior to this. It's a weird time for the book. This last 12 or so issues, and it all starts with this Transformers crossover, man.
What we spoke about Scarlet being, quite youthful in the scripting. How do you feel about all of Cobra Commander's Shakespearean dialogue?
It's definitely going to have you reaching for your dictionaries.
Yeah. What does he? What is it? So shoot her, Zorana, you oligophrenic megapod.
Ben,
it's a mouthful.
For even attempting it.
I mean, it's to get that out mid combat is quite something.
Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah.
I can't even find where he says it. Oh, there we go. Shoot her, Zorana, you oligophrenic megapod. He's got another few choice words for Scarlet before that. I was drowsing in hebidation until the clear light of recipicience awoke me. I mean, he's quoting the bard. Like Larry.
What are we doing here, though? What is Larry? Is he basically just having fun here because he's like, look, this is all about Transformers. I'm just going to go nuts with Cobra Commander in these few panels.
Yeah, presumably. Well, look, he will always tend towards Shakespearean villain for Cobra Commander. He's found that voice for Cobra Commander. He's not going to relinquish it. There was a time it was more Bond villain. Now it's Shakespeare. But the fact that he's able to get these monologues out in the heat of battle never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah. Well, we spoke about that before, the way that you can freeze time.
Time.
A panel is a frozen moment, but you can fill it with dialogue. This advert caught my attention because I was collecting these in real time. 1993's Marvel Masterpieces Series 2 fantastic trading cards. And back then, for me, trading cards and comics went hand in hand. You would have your comics on the counter, and then they would have the card hobby boxes open, and you would take a couple of packs, put them on your comics, and you'd be in the car on the way home having a whale of a time with great things to read and great cards to look at. It was a simpler time, S-Jubs.
Explain this to me. Okay, sidetrack, Ben, because I'm trying to understand the appeal to a trading card.
Trading cards,
I've never got it.
Oh, trading cards back then was more about set collecting. So you were trying to get, there was 100 cards in that set. So just the thrill of getting the base set, trading with friends, and then also taking it out of kind of like stickers in the playground. Trading cards were like a level above, so you'd buy a binder and then you'd buy 9 pockets and you'd put them in, and then you would look at them in a kind of really nice way. A lot of appreciation for the art. Now for trading cards, it's more like gambling. It's about hits and numbered cards, and it's all kind of manipulated by Topps and the companies that make them. But back then there was a purity to it. And they just went hand in hand with comics. Comic shops, the counter was full of trading cards, and they were just so alluring. And, if you'd get a shiny one, you were happy. I don't know. They kind of, the thrill of the rip, you never know what you're going to get. And to a kid, that was quite exciting. They were just a nice, side quest to comics. Comics were the main thing you were in there to get, and you'd get that, and just to put a pack on top. Ooh! Just finished the shopping spree off nicely. So you have this issue. Is this a childhood-ish issue, or is this you've picked up later in life?
I have no idea how this issue found its way into my collection. I can only presume my comic book store employee friend Rob slipped it in there somewhere.
Oh, God, a little comic book fairy almost.
And it was definitely in my comic book collection when the big leak happened, because it's warped, bro.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, the big leak of what, circa 20 what?
This would have been 2023.
Yeah, this is recent. God. Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, the colors are vibrant. Nothing's run. It's all very legible. In fact, it is... Yeah, I think the books of the 90s had less of a kind of a fade to the page. Maybe the newsprint was slightly more vibrant, more white. But everything looks good.
Interesting, because I know for a fact that when I would have gotten home with this book, because I was collecting in real time at this moment, I would have had 5 years older than me, Chief, and my brother. They would have been fully trolling this book. Like Chief would have bought it, but he would be hate-liking, because at the time he would have been just so at the wrong age for this, and he hated Snake Eyes being what it was called, and the Transformers being involved. But I think time has done its thing, and I think he somewhat enjoys this part of the run now. But as we took a look at in the letters pages, this I think this was hated by the core fan base that grew up reading the book. This may have been the final straw. I think that I reckon if you weren't jumping ship, you may have been after these couple of issues.
It's a tough pill to swallow, and it's obviously mandated. It was thrust upon Larry. This is absolutely the toy overlord saying, "Hey, push these toys. We're relaunching Transformers, and we're going to relaunch it on the back of GI Joe." All of these plans were probably set into motion long before GI Joe's popularity started flagging. So I'm thinking like 2 years back from this issue, when the comic book was still doing decent enough business, was when they were plotting, let's bring Transformers back. We're going to need to piggyback it on this other hot title. Turns out, everything was kind of circling the drain at this point. So it was just adding insult to injury that Larry was lumped with having to write this story.
But as I said before, like, I've got no interest in changing history, and I really enjoy the fact that they're in the run. If the run was just this kind of straight monotone line, it's dull. There's zaniness, there's ups, there's downs, there's ninjas, there's Transformers. There's so much to talk about in this ARA run. The ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, all of it. It all kind of just goes into the big melting pot that was Marvel ARA. So, if anything, I just find these issues interesting from a kind of historical point of view of where GI Joe was as an IP, as opposed to like thinking that it's a really good comic book issue, because it's probably not really.
And it also was in a sort of middling time. You hit the nail on the head when you said, like, what is fun about this is reading them out of sequence. Because this operates as an interesting left turn, a palate cleanser, a kind of like a diversion, a sort of bit of zany fun involving the Transformers. Well, zany fun involving a lot of Transformers getting absolutely murked. But nevertheless, like, we might be reading issue 7 tomorrow, Yeah.
The thing is, though, if you're going to do these things, they definitely could have done it better than they did. Like, this isn't the best, blending of Joes and Transformers. Like, there is actually loads of stuff you could do. You could make it more from... I think it would be really interesting to do an issue that is literally just from the Joe's POV, So, it's all from the ground level. And I feel like it would take like 7 Joes to get some like detonator packs and get them on like a Decepticon's leg or something and try and blow his leg off, or... I some kind of win for the humans, I guess, is what I'd be looking for. And maybe have it more like, the beginning of Terminator, that kind of like against the machines.
Oh, yes.
Whereas really, this is actually more from Megatron's point of view, really.
Yeah.
And they're just pointless insects. But there you go.
Well, pal... that was at least a very tangible piece of plastic in 1993 for them to peddle.
Dude, that's such a good toy.
Yeah, man. Pick this up for €50 in 2014 at the port of Rafina in Greece.
Yeah, that's so bright and bold.
Yeah, got it in its packaging at a very unironic toy shop. It just happened to have like stock that old.
So two little wheels on each track, I take it, so you can...
Yes, and I forget exactly what triggers like phrases and sound effects, but it's all integrated. Like when his head flips out, he says something. When he says Megatron attack. When the sort of lock and load missile firing mechanism fires, it does a sound effect. I mean, it's cute. It's got electronics that are unobtrusive enough.
Oh, look, Transformers plastic, Transformers toys are so much fun. They really are. I mean, it's almost exclusively what me and Scout play at this point.
I can't blame you. They're everywhere. You can't throw a stone without seeing them at retail.
Yeah, no, for sure. I did think that when I was in the toy shop. I was like... sometimes I feel like when I go into Smith's, which is essentially just Toys R Us but rebranded, sometimes I question whether the toys in there reflect what people are actually interested in at this moment, or if it's just what they're stocking, Because I feel like what people are actually interested in is like collectibles and things like that, and I don't know. It's just the same old in a toy shop. It's just, the Lego aisle just goes on forever. Then you've got Transformers. You've got a lot of WWE figures, and some Marvel stuff, but so much of it is just really kind of low end. And there he is. It's a hell of a chest on him.
It's half a tank.
Yeah.
Oh, bless. A G1, G2 brick, if ever I saw one.
Yeah, that's
more heft than his weird little toy.
Yeah, his ballerina V1.
That's a leader right there.
Yes, yeah. No, he's got some heft. He can command his Decepticon forces. Look, the head sculpt on all Transformers back in the day now is just joyous. It's my favourite part of the figs. I'm such I'm such a sucker for having them in their robot mode, you know? I like transforming them into the cars and the planes, but my joy is just seeing them in their robot mode. That's what I like. That's when you can really play with them.
We lived through in Transformers packaging when they opted to move from having them packaged in their alt modes to having them packaged in their robot modes. Simply because it occupies more space in that box or bubble. Hey?
Yeah. I mean,
value. Don't market the toy in its most compact, folded away mode. Don't do that. No. Have it in its most exploded mode with all of its accessories arrayed around it, not tucked into the vehicle or integrated. No.
Yeah, and I just think entry-level folk would think they were getting a car. They wouldn't be like, oh, does this turn into something? You know, you get it as a robot and you plaster the car all over the packaging. It is back to front otherwise, I think. You don't want it as a car in the box. You need it as a robot.
No, this is where we're going to have to agree to disagree, Ben.
Woo.
I think there's something so cool and restrained about how Transformers were marketed in our day versus how they're marketed now. Now they're marketed as the action figure. And there's a wall full of action figures, and Transformers is one of them. They just happen to have this added gimmick. Whereas back then, it was a secret. It was a surprise. It was like, oh, it's a cool vehicle, just like every other vehicle toy you see in Hot Wheels or, you know, whatever the aircraft equivalent is.
Yeah.
But this model becomes a robot.
Well, there you go. Look, this should have been chasing Transformers, but it wasn't. It was chasing Joe.
Transformers billing is the same size as GI Joe on the cover. Therefore, it rightfully takes up at least 50% of this chat.
I'm
going to talk about Transformers. Come on, this was the one to do it in.
We may have had some technical difficulties in this episode, but my God, we still did an episode. I have been at BenFlyingRetro, getting through this run. Oh, look at that, Dr. Shock. Huffy America's first choice. Yes. I'll go out and try and get one of those today. But I literally have to go for my daily run now because I'm coming on 2 years of running every day. What's going on with the flagship? Anything special planned?
So this week past, you would have had a little listen to Paul, Rob, and myself speaking to one another in person. What that would take the form of, I don't know. It's yet to be recorded, but I know we're going to have some fun.
Right.
Look, we did some great stuff this week, man. We played with our toys together.
Oh, that's so good.
To every Go fan out there, like that's a life goal. That's a bucket list. To get your childhood mates and play with your toys. Oh, you're dreaming, man.
Yeah, that's so good. I really loved it when you were down the pub, the battle cruiser, and you were just ripping them. What were they? Super 7s?
Super 7s, yes.
Yeah, I love that content.
Yowza.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff.
It's like they did Mara, the blue-skinned love interest of Shipwreck from the cartoon series. How obscure is that?
Jeez. Okay. I can. You weren't happy with the AI artwork that was happening on the.
I need to offer a retraction though, Ben.
Yeah, because
legit.
It was legit. Yeah. Well, there you go.
I got that one wrong. I had a few points in me, man. Dutch courage.
Look, critiquing those figures is a strange one because they are not coming from any place where they're meant to be taken out of those boxes. Super 7 is an aesthetic. It's a visual cue that makes you feel something. I that's how I personally feel about that line. They just look so pretty in that box. Is it always disappointing when you rip one of those?
Python has definitely grown on me, and ever since I gave her a better cloak.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had to mod.
Vintage Collection have probably the best tailored cloaks and things for that scale. The fabric is light, but the stitching is good. So it falls the way it should, it moves the way it should, but it's not going to tear and rip as easily. I mean, if you play rough, obviously it's going to, but yeah, I gave her a Luke Skywalker Jedi cloak from Jedi.
Oh, yeah, you did.
It's made all the difference, man.
Nice. That's great. Wait, are you talking about the Kenner? What Luke?
Wow, so Star Wars Vintage Collection must be from
okay.
About 4 years ago now, but
yeah,
they did a sort of a Jabba's Palace arrival Luke. It's a brown cloak, but it folds nicely, so I don't mind the color mismatch.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, I've got to mismatch myself out onto the tarmac and get these 4 miles under my belt. Then I'm going to the butcher's to get some meat. Then I've got to take Scout to parkour. That's a peek behind the curtain. Join us, same place, same time, next week. Yo, Transformers?
Megatron is a green tank.
Laters.